Welcome to the Instant Trivia Podcast, episode 1987, where we ask the best trivia on the internet. Let's get started. Which American poet and novelist, author of the epic poem John Brown's Body, won the 1929 Pulitzer Prize for Poetry? Stephen Vincent Benet. Aside from Spanish, which language is commonly spoken in Barcelona? Catalan. Who first wrote the phrase ipsa scientia potestas est, often translated as knowledge is power, in 1597? Sir Francis Bacon. Which plant produces oval, typically purple fruit that are commonly used as a vegetable? Answer: aubergine eggplant. Which anti-tobacco advocacy group partnered with the SEAL organization to promote clean air initiatives and public health campaigns? American Lung Association. What public service did Blaise Pascal introduce to Paris in the 17th century? Answer: public transportation, specifically a horse-drawn omnibus service, the Carrosse à Cinq Sols. Who said in 1974, "I don't want to be leader of the party. I'm happy to be in the top dozen"? Answer: Margaret Thatcher. In a standard game of chess, how many pawns does each player start with? 8. Which engineer is often called the father of supercomputing for his pioneering designs in the 1960s and 1970s? Seymour Cray. Which fortress prison was stormed on July 14th, 1789, marking the start of the French Revolution because it symbolized royal injustice? The Bastille. In Mexican mezcal, what is Hypopta agavis, commonly called gusano, known as in English? The maguey worm, agave worm. Who played Robin Hood in the 1938 film The Adventures of Robin Hood? Errol Flynn. What classic pair is often referenced in songs and stories to symbolize a harmonious partnership and is commonly depicted as a mode of transportation? Horse and carriage. What was the nickname of World War I fighter pilot Manfred von Richthofen? The Red Baron. What breed of dog is Scooby-Doo? Great Dane. In what year was the German Empire, comprising the German states except Austria and ruled by the King of Prussia as emperor, founded? 1871. Which Middle Eastern country experienced a civil war that began in 1975 and lasted 15 years? Lebanon. Who is the historical figure known for claiming to have discovered a set of golden plates in the early 19th century? Joseph Smith. Which country shares the Iguazu Falls with Argentina? Brazil. What is the last letter of the Greek alphabet? Omega. Which American band had top 10 UK hits with Amateur Hour and Beat the Clock? Sparks. Which city was the plane carrying Umar Farouk Abdulmutallab the underpants bomber headed to? Detroit. In Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island, from which English port does the Hispaniola set sail? Bristol. Which author wrote the story featuring Roderick Usher, which explores madness and decay in a family's ancestral home? Edgar Allan Poe. Who was the 26th President of the United States, serving from 1901 to 1909? Theodore Roosevelt. What term is commonly used to refer to a horse specifically trained for battle and cavalry charges? Charger. A coho is a species of what fish? Salmon. What is the atomic number of the element named for Russian physicist Yuri Oganessian? 118. Which infamous online marketplace, known for facilitating illegal drug sales, was shut down by law enforcement in 2013? Silk Road. Which of King Henry VIII's wives was imprisoned in the Tower of London in May 1536? Anne Boleyn. Which U.S. state's flag includes the Union Jack, the flag of the United Kingdom? Hawaii. Which New York baseball team has won the most World Series championships in Major League Baseball history? New York Yankees. Which landscape architect is credited with designing Central Park in New York City? Frederick Law Olmsted. From which country was actor Leslie Howard traveling when his plane was shot down? Portugal. What is the female equivalent of the Jewish coming-of-age ceremony bar mitzvah? Bat mitzvah. At King Edward VII's 1910 funeral, which foreign monarch, wearing the full dress uniform of a field marshal, rode on horseback alongside the chief mourner King George V? Kaiser Wilhelm II. What external body part, essential for hearing, is often adorned with earrings? Ear. Which play, featuring characters named Willie and Linda, explores the struggles of a traveling salesman and his family? Death of a Salesman. Which 1960s pop group reunited in the 1980s and released the single That Was Then, This Is Now? The Monkees. Which world leader was famously targeted for assassination by the CIA, with plots that reportedly included an exploding cigar? Fidel Castro. Which city, home to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, hosted the Moondog Coronation Ball, often cited as the first rock and roll concert? Cleveland. Which film features an FBI trainee who seeks the help of an imprisoned, cannibalistic serial killer to catch another murderer? The Silence of the Lambs. On which continent would you find the mountain chains called Cordillera Oriental and the Cordillera Occidental? South America. On July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb, the Trinity test, exploded in which U.S. state? New Mexico. What type of aircraft were the Spruce Goose and the Spirit of St. Louis? Airplanes. Which cable channel's late-night programming block, Adult Swim, is known for featuring adult-oriented animated series? Cartoon Network. What was Istanbul called before 1930? Constantinople. Which short story by Edgar Allan Poe depicts a prisoner's torments during the Spanish Inquisition? The Pit and the Pendulum. On their TV show, which musical group's fictional address was 1431 North Beechwood Drive? The Monkees. Which comedian, known for his iconic deadpan delivery, starred in a classic sitcom about a psychologist? Bob Newhart. That's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Come back tomorrow for more exciting trivia.